Yo, what is good, guys? I hope you all enjoyed the long weekend. I flew back to California, spent a couple days with the family. That was really nice, getting to see them. But time to get back to work. I got a lot of stuff to talk about in today's video. We got some biotech stuff. I see a place setting up, so you're not going to want to miss out on that. Make sure to stick around. The last thing I told you to stick around for was that oil short, and that thing has gotten absolutely annihilated. So if biotech, the setup plays out, there's a lot of money to be made. So we're just going to get right into it. Make sure to show the video some love, give it a like and subscribe, and let's get into it. So to start off, Bitcoin, there's not too much to say. Bitcoin is seriously dying out with the volatility, the inflows. I'm going to show you something. So this is just showing you the inflows into Bitcoin itself and biotech, Bitcoin ETF Summit, and it's literally flatlining. So the volatility is just not going to be there for a very, very long time. And we're in a really risk-off environment in the markets. We're in a recession. We've had 2 negative GDP quarters in a row, but the White House kind of changed that. So, I mean, we're in a recession, but technically we're not. So, I don't know. The point is we're in a risk-off environment, and no one is willing to throw their money around like they did in 2020, early 2021. So, Bitcoin, it might get a bounce, especially if it holds this bottom trend line. That's kind of the line in the sand. If that line breaks, I don't know what else is gonna hold it up. I mean, there's probably supports going, horizontal supports going back in time. Uh, I mean, I don't know. Bitcoin is it's really kind of, yeah, it's over. This thing isn't gonna be going up for a while. I can pretty much say that with confidence. The market is not comfortable throwing their money around, so I'm not touching crypto for a while. I got out of everything in January, and since then I've been happy with that decision. Watching everyone average down on all the cryptos. So Bitcoin, for now it just has to hold this bottom trend line. I think I don't really see any horizontal supports, but for me it's a waiting game on Bitcoin. I don't think it's going up anytime soon. So maybe the bounce, maybe this wedge, maybe this trend line, you could get a big bounce. But I think it's pretty unlikely with the state that the crypto market is in. FTX, Voyager, Celsius, left and right, these crypto corporations are just crumbling. So I'm staying away. On to oil. Oil, we've been making a lot of money on this thing in the Discord. SPY's been really slow, so when SPY dies down, where do I go? Commodities, natural gas and oil. So that's where I've been hanging out a lot, and I've been making a lot of money in there. So there's kind of 2 paths here. It's a little tricky because what I was hoping for today, me and the Discord, we were all hoping oil would make a new high, and that would give us 5 waves up, and that would have been a free short. You short the 3 waves back down, which is like this, A, B, C, probably deeper, but I'm just kind of making the point there. So that did not happen, but technically it's not out of the picture. But when you're looking at these waves, there's pretty much always symmetry in the waves and how they develop, and this just doesn't look right to me. I think it's taken too long for it to get to a new high. Now, I suppose it's possible, especially considering it's holding above the potential wave 1, but I don't know. Right now, for me, it's a waiting game. I don't take low probability trades on oil. I don't think I've actually ever missed on oil. From the amount of times that we traded in the Discord, I'm pretty sure we've never been wrong in this. So I shorted today, right around here. I was seeing these topping candles here. You could see it couldn't break this region, so I shorted, and I had a stop loss at 77.40 something. They tagged me out, and it kept going, but I made a couple hundred. Futures, it is crazy volatile. So if you wait for those right setups, you do not need to take many plays to make money. You really don't. So that's it for oil. It's a waiting game. Right here, there's a lot of congestion. So I think what I want to see is either a new high, and I would short for a pullback. I think there's a chance this could be its own 5-wave structure here, and this is somehow an ABC. So if we get a new high, um, what I will do depends on how the structure in this wave is built. I would like to see if it gets down into this region where it's pretty likely. Um, See if it bounces from there or goes under, and if it goes underneath, um, if it holds that previous low. So this bounce, on Friday, we were looking for a pretty deep retrace. If you can see here, I got the arrow and that rectangle. So the way I found my target was, considering this was like an ABC or even a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Regardless, the next wave lower would have been right here, which I found by doing this. So I didn't draw out the lines perfectly, but it'll give you the idea. It's this blue line right here, which is 74.40, and we went a little underneath that, but I was like, I don't think it's really gonna get underneath this because zooming out, you have divergences on the longer time frames, bullish divergences, and on the 1 hour you had this trend line here, and I was like, this is pretty much the last line of defense here for the bulls. If it doesn't hold, like, I really wasn't sure how low this thing could go. So a lot of stuff is happening in Venezuela, with all of the oil stuff, and the U.S. Chevron's like expanding into Venezuela. So there's a lot of like complicated things fundamentally happening with oil right now. Saudis are, there were like these rumors they were gonna stop production or increase, and it's all over the place. So the news is really hard to predict and read and kind of digest. But the fundamentals, it's so volatile. It's a really, really good thing to learn how to trade and how to understand because there's so much money to be made. And join the Discord. More help you out in there. There's a lot of money to be made. So on to natural gas. What I'm looking for is potentially some downside. Now it's really oscillating around this 7.2 level. Now there's a volume gap in here, so you can see it actually pushed through it and kind of got into this volume node where it was destroyed by sellers. But right now, if it breaks this bottom channel line right here, it is going to die. And natural gas, the money you can make on this thing is crazy. I shorted this on, what day was it? Like Friday, I forget what day it was, but that was the first time I've made over 1,000 in less than a minute. On one of the candles, I think it was 500 in less than a second. So, and this is futures, but it is so illiquid and it's so volatile. Like, the amount you make per tick, a tick is, I believe it's 0.1 cents. So, okay, per dollar that it moves is 10,000, I believe that's correct. Let me measure that out. So from 7.3 to 7.2 is 1,000. So yeah, 7.3 to 6.3 is $10,000 per contract. So this is so volatile. It is insane. You cannot mess around with natural gas, but if you wait for those right setups, there is some insane money to be made. And if you want to see for yourself, join the Discord. So that's going to be in the description. Make sure to check that out. Join it. You will not regret it. So on to the US dollar. It had a double bottom. This was a reason for some of the weakness in the markets today. Got that double bottom here, as well as on this trend line, which I feel like this is a wedge here, but it was really weird with it riding it down, that top line down for so long. So I don't know. This was really it was interesting. I've never really seen a wedge do this before, so I'm not sure if this is a wedge, but it kind of looks like one. You might want to test liquidity up here, especially around this region, so like that 110, 109 region. So that's what I'm looking for. Probably some more upside, but we're gonna see it'll help seeing SPY, so you can put that correlation together. So DXY, I think it's set for more upside. It does not make sense to just keep falling from here, but we'll see. It'll make more sense when we look at SPY. So Apple, it's been respecting this trend line for a while here. As you can see, it's been getting rejected every single time, and Apple has been giving us a lot of gaps. Now, I don't really trade Apple, but it's very relevant in the market, so that's why I pay attention to it. But what I'm realizing is it gives us a lot of gaps to work with, and these gaps get filled pretty quickly. Like this gap, this gap, this gap, you can see they fill very quickly. But the bigger they are, the longer it takes for them to fill. I guess like the more relevant the gap is. Like this is a massive gap, and it's that happened like, what is that, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, whatever this is. So the bigger the gap, it seems, the longer it takes to fill. But you got two gaps above, a gap down here, and a gap above that trend line. So if it breaks above this, it's probably gonna fill that gap, which is, that's like a $20 move from you. So that's a pretty decent move. And you got this little gap here, you got that bottom trend line support. So Apple, it's really getting tight. I think it's kind of tightening into this range here with these two trend lines, but play the gaps. That's really all I can say. These are the gaps to watch. So Tesla is very tricky market, and Tesla is really just adding to that. We broke this big trend line here, a massive support. Like that's really the last support there was. We broke it, faked out a lot of bears, broke it, faked out a lot of bears. So I really haven't bothered with Tesla. It went into this volume gap twice, and both times shot back out of it. So it's pretty tricky. I'm not sure what it wants to do. It's oversold, but there's no supports really. So I guess there was this actually. I did not expect such a quick reaction off of that previous peak right there. So that definitely held a support. You can see we whipped through it. Buyers definitely came in there, but you got a gap down here. I still think this area needs to be tested for liquidity. So I'm not touching it, but I think there is some downside drift on Tesla, meaning some people might want it to go up, but I think the general direction or the drift is to the downside. So I'm not even going to bother with Tesla. It's very tricky to play right now, but it could break out if it keeps doing this, where it just is really stubborn to make that new low. And taking a look at that RSI, same thing with the MACD. If you just kind of eyeball it, Tesla actually could break out pretty hard. It needs to solidify a direction. It can't just keep doing this downwards drift, making a lower high every time. So I think, if you get another high, you pull back and you like hold this high, or like hold this low. It's a waiting game for Tesla as well. So Tesla, I'm staying away. It's a pretty tricky one. Now biotech, here's the play I've been talking about in that Discord. So XBI, that's the biotech ETF, and these are the tickers you trade it. XBI, can I click it? Okay, there we go. So we're in this, what I think is a bear flag. Now, it has been holding this for quite a while. That's like 2 months, but this can't hold forever, and I am expecting the market to take a pretty heavy turn to the downside soon, and this moves pretty well with the general market. So what would I expect if the market drops? This thing is going to get destroyed, and that's kind of what it's looking like. The RSI crossed through. It's sitting under 50. Now, it's a little tricky because it's been doing this the whole time. It goes underneath but then bounces. Did that here. And same thing on the MACD. It goes slightly under, finds support there, but this time it might not do that. So I'm looking for that confirmation. I would really like to see it stay below, close below. It hasn't closed below really, or closed below 2 days in a row. So I would like to see a solid close below it. Same thing with the market. If I see some stuff on SPY that's like, okay, SPY's ready to die, well, I'm probably going to be moving into Lab D soon, where my target was, I believe, my target was, it was a pretty high target. I'm not really focused on the target yet, just because I'm looking at XBI. It all depends on what XBI does, really, which is why I don't really mind what the ETFs do. So, it's getting ready to break out. I've been I was like, play this on that market bounce we just got from 350 on SPY. I said these gaps are probably gonna get filled, and that was 80%, 70%, 100%. I mean, so close to 100. But you really, these ETFs, I think they're pretty underrated for how well they move. There's so many opportunities out there. You gotta look past SPY. There's a lot of other opportunities. So, biotech. The point I'm making here is I'm looking to short this soon. I'm not sure if how much longer it can just like drift above this support, but it's definitely losing stream. It's definitely losing strength. I don't think it's gonna return up to this trend line again, because that is quite the move, and I think you would need help from the general market to do that. So, that's for the biotech play. It's not ready yet, but it's really getting close. So, onto semiconductors. You feel those two gaps I was looking for. You do have one tiny gap up here, I believe. Yeah, a very tiny gap. So maybe it gets filled, but this again kind of needs the general market direction and sentiment to go the way it goes. So the market would need to push to, I believe, 410, SPY to 410 for this to get filled. Now that's still a possibility. We're still range bound. It's really annoying, but it's not really affecting me just because I'm trading other things. But it is annoying because I would like to trade SPY more, but sometimes I just don't know what the direction is. So this kind of depends on what the market wants to do. SOXS has been holding this bottom for so long. It's pretty impressive, and you got two massive gaps above. So if you want to fill these, that's kind of an indication that the markets are going to be ready to turn down soon. So that's what we're going to be taking a look at and talking about pretty soon. So SOXL, I was looking for that fifth wave up potentially. That did not happen. So right here was where I would have liked to see it just go higher right away. I believe that was today. So yeah, it would have made sense for today to be green so that this could go up. But that did not happen. The market made that downturn. So it was a pretty pivotal day today, actually. You're going to see why. But now that this is failing, it's kind of a waiting game. The pivot would be that, I believe, this low right here. So if it goes underneath that, you could see some more downside, fill that gap. But we're just going to go as the charts go. So it's not really ready yet, I don't think. It could kind of drift sideways for a little bit. But biotech is really the one I'm watching. Semiconductors, not really yet. I would like to see some more price action to have more that I can work with. So the VIX has just, it's been going down, down, down. I do think it's ready to turn at some point because, I mean, the VIX can't go down forever. That's not how it works. But you have one last gap down here that's not filled yet, so maybe it gets filled. I think SPY would have to go to 410 for that to happen, but 410 is really, the odds of it happening are really getting minimal. So we'll see. The big thing I'm going to talk about now is SPY. So this is kind of the control factor for all of these other things that I'm waiting on for. So right now we're actually going to zoom in and take a look at what happened today. So we took a short on SPY today. We started shorting right during that Fed speech. A confirmation of that short was this 5 wave down. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4 didn't break wave 1, and we made a new low. So I was like, okay, this thing's about to drop, and I'll actually show you that message in the Discord. So this morning I said we're building a structure that should lead us to further downside. The upside can finish here or potentially extend a little higher. So that was this right here. The way I measured it out, you take your fib extension, draw from the low to the high to the next, or like higher low, whatever. And once you get to that 100% extension, That's where I was like, okay, we're gonna top here. I wanted to short right here, but I didn't because I thought it could extend a little bit, and it kind of extended. This area was really kind of confusing. I'm not gonna bother charting this, but the general point here was that we had 5 waves down, and after a correction, we would go lower, and so that's what happened. I shorted on the recovery, this movement up here, and then I believe I shorted more around here, and I held it all day until right around here. I was looking for 395 to close the short, but I was like, I'm just gonna take my profits. I was up, I think it's like 800, 900. So it was kind of a slow day, but money is money. So I took those profits, and now I'm just sitting out because we could bounce. We're gonna zoom out a little bit and just kind of take a look at why we can bounce. So I have a downside bias. Right off the bat, I want to make that clear. I have a downside bias. I think SPY is ready to get destroyed, but we can't say that until it's confirmed. So we're gonna take a look at the RSI. On the 30-minute, we were very oversold. So this is a little tricky. This makes me think that we're gonna bounce because that's quite the drop we had. It's been a while since we've actually had a move like that. It's really just been this annoying range bound trading, really tight ranges, because we are in positive gamma. We're above the gamma threshold, which I believe on ES it was 4018, I think it was, right around here. So we actually went below that gamma threshold today, so that's probably added to another factor of that downside movement, the downside drift, as market makers kind of changed the way they're trading and making money. So that definitely added to the downside today, but I think the general reason was the DXY kind of giving the market weakness. So anyways, oversold, so this could give us a bounce here. Now, if we do bounce on that, and I am expecting a bounce too, I would probably short on the bounce, but if we reclaim a certain level, so I believe it's 390, actually we're going to go on to ES. So this is the same thing as SPY basically. It's the same chart, just different numbers, but these are the range levels that I have on here that have been respected very well. And we bottomed at the last one today, pretty much, the last one. So that's why I closed my short actually. I was like, I closed it right here. I think on this candle or this candle, and just because I thought it was bottoming out. So now what I'm kind of looking for is that bounce to re-short it. But if we reclaim, I believe it's 4016, if we get above that, I'll have to close it, and I would go long if we break 403. So it's really annoying that we're still stuck in a range, but better safe than sorry. So once this breaks to the downside, we will break to the downside. It's only a matter of time. It's just stalling. So zooming out even more, I think we're going to take a look at the 4-hour here. So the 4-hour, this thing's almost ready to die. You got the RSI crossing down. You got double divergences now, where lower lows with the higher high, and it crossed through twice. So the downside bias is getting pretty strong here. You had some massive dark pool prints, which definitely was should have been distribution at 402. So institutions are now selling. They've been doing that for quite a while actually, just kind of distributing in this upper region. So smart money is distributing up here. You're starting to see weakness. Volume is dying down, which I actually haven't looked at volume really, but I'm gonna assume it's going down. Yep, it's going down. So it's losing steam here. That's what I can say. But if we break 403, we should fill that gap. So we're still range bound. It's incredibly annoying, but until we break some important levels again, so on SPY that's 394, 394.50 to 394.50 to 395. that like 50-cent window is a really important support that it's been holding very well. I believe that's like, yeah, that's this line right here. You can even see it. Coincidentally, not really a coincidence, but that is a fib level. So like literally right around that level. Once that breaks, you have 390, and then under that, you should drop pretty hard, and you would be underneath this wedge line. So the measured move would be 376-ish to 360, the high 369s, and under that it's a new low pretty much. So it's a pretty pivotal area now, because you can really see the market change again, like this. You got a squeeze, drop, squeeze, drop, squeeze, drop. So this time that drop would take us to 290 to 320, I believe, 290 to 320. It's a massive drop, so you don't want to be on the wrong side of that thing. If it breaks the high 360s, you're probably going to new lows. So I have a downside bias. Maybe they stall it for a little longer. 410 is still possible, and we are still range bound, but I think in the longer term, it's ready to get destroyed here. Regardless if that's a pullback before something like this is a structure that a lot of Elliott Wave people have been following. So something like this, and you manage to get to 420 or even 410 again, which that structure kind of looks awkward. So it'd probably be something like this, or if we only pull back to here, you would go higher to around 420. But the pullback, the big pullback, these don't really count. The big pullback is where it's really going to be important that we hold it, or if we don't hold it, we are going to drop very far and very fast. So that's all I have for this video. I hope you watched the whole thing through, and if you did watch the whole thing through, show it some love, give it a like and subscribe, check out the Discord, and yeah, that's it. Peace out, guys.